What's going on, guys? It's Will Kelly, and I am with Military Lawn Cuts, where we have built two lawn care businesses. One did $630,000 in annual revenue last year, and the second one we just started. And you know what I love the most is knowledge. And I am so passionate about knowledge because that's what's going to take you to the next level. I do a lot of coaching calls with people, and one of their biggest pain points and what they struggle with the most is how to price their services. Now, normally I would not do this, but I am so passionate about helping other people and allowing them to grow and achieve greater success in their business. I just built a course that I had it listed for $49, and I am going to make it completely free for you guys to take advantage of, where we give away our exact blueprint for our pricing model that we use for our two locations. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys next time. What's going on, guys? It's Will with Military Lawn Cuts, and I wanted to take a minute before we jump into this course to congratulate you on taking the next step in your business career to figure out how to price your services accurately. So instead of me just giving you the blueprint for our numbers, what I want to do is equip you with the knowledge to educate yourself on how we actually came up with these numbers instead of just giving you the answers to the test. So that way you can take this information and go out and figure out what your time on the properties are, because everybody's business is different. Everybody's types of services that they offer are different. The size properties are different. The equipment's different. So we want to make sure we want to get as accurate as possible, so that way you can accurately price the jobs and make sure that you're profitable at the end of the day. So what we're going to do today is we are going to jump into this, and there's a nice cool little saying that I like. The saying goes as this: it's show a man where to fish, you feed him for a day, but teach a man how to fish and you'll feed him for a lifetime. So hopefully through this curriculum, small course that I've built, we're able to equip you on how to fish, so that way no matter what business you go to or what services you're doing, you can price accurately. Okay, so I want to start off and give you guys a disclaimer and basically say that this guide and pricing sheet, pricing matrix that I'm going to equip you with, it's first off good to understand what type of equipment that we use, what type of properties that we use, so that way you don't just want to take this and go run with it per se if you have a whole different setup than us. So for us, we run F-150 trucks with dovetail or ramp rack type rack system. So we run trailerless setups on all of our trucks. We don't have any trailers, which allows us to park closer to the property for less walking distance. Okay, now the other things that we do is we have we use the trailer rack, weed eater and edger rack mounts, so that way it's super easy. They can just put it up and take it off for the equipment that they need to use. The other thing that's really important is we don't do any properties that are over 8,000 square feet. So 8,000 is our absolute max that we will do. We use 21-inch Toro push mowers for all of our properties. Okay, those are the type of mowers that we use. So this is what our master pricing matrix is based off of, those parameters. Okay, so we do cookie cutter residential HOA properties, and we get in and get out, but we have fine-tuned our systems down to get accurate pricing on all of our jobs. We've been doing this and studying and timing ourselves on all the properties for the last 4 years, so we are dialed in with that setup and these size properties. So let's jump into it. All right, so when you're first starting out, it's really important that for you, when you don't know how or even where to start for pricing, literally everybody's market is different. Okay, so whether you're doing residential or commercial, like there's so many variables. What I would recommend is just call your local competitors, find the top 3 most reputable companies, get a quote for your property or your customer's property. that and get a ballpark of what they are charging. That's number one. You want to start there. And let's just say they're doing small 2,000-3,000 square foot lots and they're charging $40 a lawn. Okay, great. Now we've established a baseline, and what you want to do is basically either charge exactly what they're charging or go a couple dollars less, so that way you can at least win a few more jobs. Once you start to do that, then this is where the data starts to begin. So once you get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 customers, then you want to go out and actually start mowing these lawns and tracking your data. And I'm going to show you here in a second. We're going to jump into the Excel spreadsheet to show you exactly how we do that. But we need the data in order to put together a pricing matrix. Okay, so that's how we start. And then, so in this scenario, I'm going to show you exactly how we price our lawn mowing jobs. So, all right, let's jump into this and see what we're looking at here. So let me go ahead and move my screen back. Okay, so over here, I put together kind of a little Excel spreadsheet, and I would recommend that you do the same. So we're just going to basically break down probably a couple of properties here, but you want to kind of set something up in this fashion. So what you want to do is start to track your time once you start to get new properties, and basically you're going to pull up to the property. You're going to, the minute you shut that key off, you start the job. That's when this job starts. You jump out, you unload, drop the ramp, unload the equipment, mow, weedy, edge, blow, do what you got to do. Put the ramp back up, jump back up in the truck, put a door hanger there if that's your process, put a little yard sign there if that's your process. Put any comments on the job, whether they need a bush trimming, upsells, all of that stuff is included in that visit. Okay, now once you're done with that property, the ramp goes up, the equipment's done, you're back in the truck. Once you put that key in the ignition to start it, the minute the truck starts, that's when the job ends. That entire time is what we need to track for each property. Okay, so in here, as you can see on my screen, what we have done is, we use Service Autopilot. Depending on what CRM that you use, this is actually a live feed of some of our customers here today. So I'm going to show you a real life example. Okay, now we are going to be using Megan Durkin here. Okay, so as you can see over here on Service Autopilot, again, your CRM might be a little different, but just get the principles. That's what we want to know. Each CRM should be able to track this stuff. Okay, so we only have one team member here because it's showing only one name. And so what we want to do is our start time was 7:30 and our end time was 7:53. So we want to go back to our Excel spreadsheet and put this data in. So 7:30 we started, 7:53 we ended. So the next step would be, okay, how many number of crews are there? Well, if we want to base our budget amount of time based off of one person. So if you are generally running a 2-man crew, we need to convert that back to a 1-man team. But this is simple enough because we only have one crew member here. So the next thing we need to get is the square footage. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's see, 1405 Devonshire. So what we want to do is go to Google Maps and type in the property address for the property that you're trying to map, and I'll show you exactly how we map out our properties. So let me go ahead and move me back a little bit. Okay, so we only want the turf square footage. Okay, that's the most accurate. So let's go in here, and again, most CRMs should be able to map this out for you. So we're going to go through and make sure that we map exactly what we need. Oh, you know what? I kind of messed up here. I'm sorry. Let me erase this. So I shouldn't have gone over the driveway there. So we want to keep this going down. Now, this little sidewalk patch here, we don't really like, we do include that. It would just be a lot to have to map out every sidewalk per se. So this gets us the majority of our turf square foot, and again, a little bit of sidewalk, that's okay too. So if you come down here, it looks it's showing 2,148 square feet. So then we want to go back to our Excel spreadsheet, 2,148 square feet. Okay, is this a regular lot or a corner? So let's take a look. I believe it was just a regular lot. Okay, so every property is going to be different. So this one has an alley where we're going to have to, if we park the truck up here, we're going to have to edge the driveway, sidewalk, and curb. So we're going to have to edge up here, and then we're going to have to walk back and edge back here. It's going to take more time versus if we just had, for example, a property. Let me see if I can give you guys a good example. All of these have alleys, okay. Versus versus a property like this. This one's going to go a lot faster per se. You won't have as much edging because the truck will be parked right here, and you're just going to edge this, and then basically boom, you're done. You don't have to walk all the way back there. So every property is going to be a little bit different, okay? But it's important to understand that we just want the average, okay? So 2148, we got that. Let's go back to our Excel spreadsheet. All right, now we need to basically convert it to a decimal. How do we do that? Well, there's a nice little website called time between, well, I searched time between two times, and this is what comes up. So let me actually show you guys. So I basically just go to Google time between two times. It's called time duration calculator. So calculator.net. If you come here, so this is what we want to do. Okay, what time did they clock in? 7:30. And then what time did they clock out? Well, let's take a look. What does our Excel spreadsheet say? 7:53. Okay, so we're going to come over here and put 7:53, make that AM. Now what this is going to do, it took 23 minutes on the property for one guy. And we need to convert this to just two numbers here. So we're going to drop the 3, and it's going to be 0.38. That's the decimal point, and I'll explain why the decimal point is important later. But that is a decimal point. So now we have our data. This is very, very important here, because what we need to do and what you need to do is go through all of your properties as you start to do them and track this time. Because the reality is this: every property is different. Every property is going to have different obstacles. Every property is going to have different trees, bushes, flower beds. Some may be in a new build area where there's no beds. Some may be in a well-established where there's a ton of shade and not much to mow back there. Some may be a corner. Some may be an alley. Some may have more edging, but what you just want is basically the average time, okay? And what you're going to do, and the seasons are going to be different too. So like in the spring and fall, your crews may be flying through this property. So instead of it taking 23 minutes, well, maybe in the spring and the fall, it takes only 18 minutes, to where in June, July, August, when the temperatures are 100 plus degrees, it takes them 5 extra minutes because it's slower. So what you need to do is go through and start to gather this data over about a year, at least a year. The more data you have, the better. Like I said, our matrix is based off of 4 years with that type of equipment. So we're going to give you really good data once we jump into that, share that with you. But this is basically what you're going to do, and you're going to go through every single property, the start time, the end time. Now, in a scenario that, let's say, for example, so they got done with 7:53, and then they started their next property at 8 a.m., right? Let me do this, and then convert this to 8 a.m. What I want to show you is if there is 2 people, then let's say a helper came out and jumped on the crew with the guy. It's really important that we start to track this data, okay? And let's say they got done at 8:15 a.m. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me do this. And then we want to change this to 15. Okay, so what I want to show you is if this scenario where there's a crew of 2 people, and they're there from 8 a.m. to 8:15 a.m., that's 15 minutes. But there's 2 people, so it's per man hour. So per man, per hour. So we need to break that down. So basically, if there's 2 people, that's 15 minutes for employee A and 15 minutes for employee B. So what would that do? And then let's just say that this is the same, let's just say that this is the same turf square feet. I'm just showing you principles. You're going to have to figure out this data for you. And we'll just say that it's another regular lot. Okay, so what we would want to do is actually convert this. Basically, so we're going to go back to the time between 2 times, and we're going to say 8 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. and calculate that. Now, if you see this, this is showing 15 minutes. But again, this is based off of only 1 man. So because there's 2 guys, we actually have to multiply this by 2. That would put us at 30 total minutes on the job, and then 0.5 hours. So then this would be converted to 0.5. So this is basically what you want to do. You want to go through all your properties and figure this out. Now, once you have this data, okay, you're going to have all kinds of different turf square feet. You're going to have some properties in the 2,000, maybe 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. They're going to be all over the place. And hopefully you get roughly 5 to 10 properties per every 500 to 1,000 square feet. Now, once you get that data and you're able to convert it to a decimal, okay, then you're going to come down here and figure out and put together a different pricing matrix, a master blueprint, okay, of how long it takes you for your equipment and size properties. So in this scenario, what we want to do is these really small rinky-dinky properties, I mean, these take literally 10-15 minutes. Like, these guys get in and out, so that's why we don't break it down every 500 square feet. So we go from 0 to probably like 1,500 square feet, and then after 1,500 square feet we want to kind of break it down more accurately. There's something called a snicker price. So what we do for really the first couple of turf square footages for the properties is, because they're so small, what you are doing is, as an employer, there's basically a trip charge that needs to be associated with you going out and actually mowing that yard. Even though you may only be there for 10 minutes, you still need like a minimum price for the office staff to book them as a customer, the guys to load up in a $10,000 truck with $5,000 worth of equipment on it, so $15,000 worth of assets, plus 1 or 2 crew members in the truck that are actually going out there. Even though they're only there for 10 minutes, you don't want to actually just bill them for just that 10 minutes. You want a minimum charge. And generally, our minimum charge right now is $29.95. So we won't do anything. I don't care how small it is. Hey, can you just weed eat this small little area? $29.95. That's our minimum right now. So make sure that you figure out some kind of minimum for you in your market for these really super rinky-dink small properties. Now, once you get above to where you're actually based off of time, as you start to scale and you're there for longer, you don't always have to move the truck. And so, yes, we can shift more towards accurately billing them per man hour of the time that you want to basically charge. And we're going to get into that here pretty soon. So for this, what I have done is I've actually gone through and we already tracked a lot of this data here up here, but down here, what you want to do is, once you get the average, so let's say like between these two, okay, let's say if you only had 2 properties, hopefully you have more. Let me put this over so that way you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. So let's say this was accurate, right? One day we had 1 crew member there, and then another day we had 2 members there, and it took them 15 minutes, so 0.5. So what you would want to do to get the average is, all we're worried about is this decimal. That's all that matters. This is what the blueprint is built off of, is the time to decimal. So what we want to do is 0.38 plus 0.5 divided by 2. That gives us our average for what a 2,000 to 2,500 square foot property looks like, okay, regular lot. And then from there, we can start to build out this sheet down here and say, okay, well, if it takes 0.44 for a regular lot on average, then we want to put that in our database here, because that is where the average is going to be from. Now, the reason why I put a regular lot and a corner lot is because the corner lots generally take longer. Why? There's more edging involved because there's a sidewalk on the side of the house. There's now more blowing involved. Okay, because not only do you have to edge on the side of the house, but you also have to walk over there with the blower. Now you're cleaning up more concrete, things like that. So generally we'll see that the corner lots will be, a little bit more. I'm not going to go through all of that data, but that's generally a estimated guess on typically what we've seen with the corner lots and how much longer it takes. Now in our master blueprint pricing matrix, what we did is we consolidated both of them. Okay, now what you could do if you wanted to be more accurate in your pricing is you could have two columns. This is what we charge for regular lots. This is what we charge for corner lots. But for us to make things simple and scalable and easier as we start to build out more locations, what we want to do is just say, hey, let's take the corner lots and the regular lots. We'll just combine them, and we may lose a little bit of money on some, but we may make a little bit more money on others. So I believe over time it will average itself out, and it's just more scalable and easier for us. So what we do is for our average time, we just want one basically decimal point for our blueprint. So what we do is if we look at this, and this is true numbers from our pricing matrix for these first two. So a regular lot was taken as 0.27, okay, so 0.27. And then the corner lots were roughly taking 0.31, so plus 0.31. And we want the average, so we're going to divide that by 2. So this comes to point and then 305, but we're going to actually round that up because, again, we just want the two numbers. So it's going to come to, actually, hold on one second. I think I made a mistake here. 0.27 plus 0.31 divided by 2. There we go. That's better. Okay, so that's going to come to 0.29. So this is what the average, this is the blueprint right here. The average time it takes from a 0 to 1,500 turf square feet comes to 0.29. Now, you're going to go through and do this on every single square footage, okay? Once you get the data, you start mowing their lawns, clocking in, starting and ending on every single one, then you're going to go back and track it. And you're not just going to do it in summer, you're not just going to do it in the winter. You're going to do it on the entire 12-month period because seasons come and go. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cool, sometimes there's rain, sometimes it's dry, okay? You just want the average, and this is the blueprint of the average. Now, once we get the blueprint of the average, then we can convert over and say, okay, what do we want to make per man hour based on our time? Now, for us in Texas, in North Texas, every market's going to be different. Whether you're doing residential or commercial, it's going to be different. So what we're going to do for our market, we have seen that residential lawn care is a little bit more premium product because you're able to charge more to the customer. And what we have found is anywhere from roughly $70 per hour to $80 per hour is a good, safe number for, number one, to be profitable at the end of the day, because generally we're paying our crews anywhere from $18 to $20 an hour. And typically what you want to do is multiply that by 4. So whatever you're paying your crews, you want to charge 4 times the amount of what you're paying them in labor. And if you do that, there will be enough skin at the end of the game, or profit per se, that you will be able to pay the bills, pay your insurance, pay your crews well, and feed their families and not go out of business from being too close on your profit margins. Okay. So basically what we want to do is, so we charge $80 an hour in our market. So what we want to do here is pull this up and say, okay, if this is our average column right here, let me go ahead and move this so that way we can see. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry. Okay, so if this is our average here, okay, what we want to do is 0.29 times $80 an hour. Okay, that would come to $23.20. So 23.20. Okay, let's do this. There we go. Okay, so I put it on the wrong column. Okay, so this is based off 80 per hour, but notice that it's only $23.20. What did I say earlier in the training video? Is that we have a minimum charge. So what would our minimum charge be? $29. They're $29.95. $29.95 is what our minimum is. Okay, now let's keep going down. So 0.34 is our average. So 0.34 times 80. That comes to $27.20. Again, it doesn't meet our minimum. So that's going to be, again, another $29.95 cut. And this is, okay, so, and then let's go through here. So I actually didn't do this one yet. Okay, so 0.44 is what we're getting average for a regular lot, plus a 0.47 for corners. We're going to divide that by 2. So it comes to 0.46 if we round it. So 0.46 is the average time it takes on the decimal. So let's go ahead and open up our calculator. And this is going to be 0.46 times 80 gets us $36.80. Okay, so go ahead and do this. So 36.80. Okay, so this is basically how you would figure out what your pricing matrix is. Okay, so obviously what we're going to do is I am going to give you the blueprint, the last 4 years that we have built this pricing matrix, different seasons, generally running that same type of equipment setup with a dovetail ramp, trailer rack setup, 21-inch mowers based on 1 man hour. Okay, so with that being said, I hope and want to explain to you that this is not the perfect way to price, but it is pretty honed in and accurate over the last 4 years. We've been building this out, and everybody's setup is going to be different. Everybody's truck and trailer and equipment is going to be different. But what hopefully I'm able to do for you in this video is equip you to be able to build your own blueprint. But in the meantime, definitely go ahead and use this blueprint. It's good up to 8,000 turf square feet based off of a 21-inch mower. Obviously, if you have a 30-inch mower, it will absolutely work for that too. You're probably going to make more money per se if you're able to cut the lawns faster. But hopefully this helps you guys. What I want to mention is if you are doing lawn treatments, okay, what we do is we take our mow time and we basically just double it. So if we would normally charge $40 for a lawn based off of $80 per man hour, we would basically just double that. Now if you're charging $70 an hour, it's the same concept. We would just double that price, and that's what we would charge the customer. Now you can use this for basically any type of service that you are offering, whether it be pest control, fertilization and weed control, mowing services, any type of service-based industry, because ultimately we are in the business of selling time and basically renting out our team members to the customers. Obviously there may be some material involved and things of that nature, but that's what we bill off of, is budgeted amount of time on the property. So it's only right that that's what we focus on to make sure that we're billing the customer properly and making a decent profit at the end of the day to keep our doors open and to continue to serve our great customers in our business.